What is going on, everybody? Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. Welcome to a very special edition of Gaming with the Broscast. Today, we are going to be spoiling the entire campaign for Halo Infinite, deep diving into the missions, what we liked, what we didn't like, and of course, our expectations and hopes for future DLCs and expansions to the game. Before we dive into the show, if you guys could consider following us on twitch.tv/gaming with the Broscast. We stream every Monday at 8:30 Eastern Time. Our next podcast on January 3rd is going to be our Game of the Year episode for 2021. So please give that a listen and tune in live. Also follow us on Twitter at GamingWTB to keep up with our podcast. And we post a lot of polls and stuff like that. So without further ado, enjoy the show.
It was her. She destroyed the ring, stopped my deletion. Why? I couldn't decrypt it in time.
It's okay. You'll figure something out.
Of course I will. They'll pair you with another AI. Maybe even another Cortana model if Halsey lets them. It won't be me. But you know that, right? But that doesn't matter. It's just another echo. She's right, John. Just another echo. Sorry, I'm messing with you. I just had a feeling that's what she would say.
When this game started, like the opening cutscene, like I kind of totally forgot about Halo 5, Guardians, and Halo 4. Like
I thought they forgot about it too.
Yeah, I mean it takes place a year after the events of Halo 5, and then once the opening cutscene happens and Atriox knocks off, which I thought was kind of dumb. If you're going to kill somebody, maybe not push them off into space where they've got space armor and can survive a crash. Yeah. But anyways, and then after that, it takes place 6 months after that moment. So yeah, you want to just kind of go through the story as it happens?
Yes,
Talk about it.
I'm also trying to remember what happened. I guess the first thing is meeting the pilot, right? So I guess you get introduced to this pilot, and he's kind of stranded out in space, and you kind of see a time lapse of him and learn that he has a family back home, and you don't really know if they're alive or not.
Yeah, I think they're dead.
But I thought that's why he was getting home to get to his family.
Well, maybe they are alive.
Oh God, maybe we don't know.
I can't quite remember. But yeah, he's he's on a Pelican. He's kind of stranded as well. He doesn't have a lot of power. He gets Master Chief and uses like kind of the remaining, what he says is the remaining power, but you still fly around. But it's the remaining power. I guess in that moment maybe.
Chief.
Oh yeah, because I think you end up getting more power when you.
That's like the first mission, right? It's getting that power.
So yeah, he boots up your suit. You do the traditional Halo: look left, look right, look up, look down to get your,
which is pretty
controls.
Cool.
Yeah, like nice throwback. But yeah, you go through the couple of. It was very interesting that the first like 2 or 3 missions are typical Halo corridor kind of shooter kind of stuff. But once you kind of do all that, you get to the open world, and that's where the game really kind of
opens up.
And
you get the weapon at this point, so that's like the Cortana.
What we'll learn is a copy of Cortana. Her name is just the weapon. So you
can kind of guess that she looks and talks like Cortana to an extent. So
yeah, so she's like your internal monologue kind of thing. She's funny, but not like overbearing. Like it's not annoying at all.
It's not too much. It's nice.
So yeah, between Master Chief, which he talks way more in this game than he ever. But he probably has more dialogue in this game than he does in the entire dialogue for the first like 5 games or so.
It's kind of unsettling.
Yeah, which I thought it was really cool. Like there's we'll get to here in a second, but there's a few scenes where it kind of humanizes him versus just a machine. So that's cool, but yeah, I mean, not a lot happens between then and stuff happens, but it's mainly open world kind of stuff that you're going through. kind of creating your own stories,
finding information about structures and Forerunner stuff, and
yeah.
It's hard for me to think of the story in between.
Yeah, I mean,
the missions.
the whole game itself, there's not a ton of story, to be honest. You're just kind of creating your own stories. You find audio logs from both sides.
You're trying to take down the Banished.
Yeah,
you're trying to get them off the ring, essentially.
Yep. Then you eventually come across this someone called like the Harbinger, and she's like the original alien race that was there, and she's trying to bring back this group, this race called the Endless. They don't really go into detail of what that is. It's just obviously it's bad. So, you're trying to stop the Banished and the Harbinger from doing that stuff, bring them back. But yeah, I mean,
yeah, you meet her. You meet a couple of, I guess they're her minions in a way. Like you meet some Banished leaders.
Yep.
And, I guess like they all have the same mantra of the Banished are amazing and can survive anything and have the drive to beat anybody, any Spartan.
Yeah.
And he's
at this point, Atriox is considered dead. He didn't have like an on-screen death. It just said over the course of the 6 months that,
and that's where Halo Wars 2 took place, I think.
I don't know if it was on the ring itself.
Well, not on the ring, but I think that it was like that battle with Atriox. That's
okay.
What that was.
Yeah, because
so
you eventually find out that Cortana, kind of, I guess, realized what she was doing. Because she went rampant. After 7 years, the AIs are destroyed because they go rampant and they can't control themselves or something like that. But you find out that she kind of regrets her actions, and she destroyed that part of the ring, which Atriox was involved in that. So that's where he essentially died over that course of that 6 months. So now the ring you find out the ring is repairing itself at a pretty rapid pace. So you have to stop the Harbinger from completing that and then unleashing the Endless. They never really say what the Endless are, but I don't know.
So it was worse than the Flood.
Worse than the Flood. So that's pretty cool.
And I guess the significance of Zeta Halo is that it's the last of the original rings built by the Forerunners.
Okay.
I think there were 12, but it's the last one. And I guess it has some significance to it outside of that.
Okay.
So yeah, it's kind of vague. I mean, the story itself is like, it's really wishy-washy on a lot of stuff, and it even ends pretty open-ended. But
yeah, I mean, Xbox has already trademarked like Endless, so at some point, I'm probably within the next year we'll probably get some sort of Endless DLC content, because the game totally ends on, I guess we would say Atriox is alive, so so we're getting something Endless wise, so that's cool. I mean, Halo's never had a campaign for the DLC itself, so super cool. And obviously it's been kind of hinted at that this is going to be the Halo game for the next, they say maybe 10 years. So if they improve gameplay and keep adding and stuff to it, so it makes sense that this would be the first game to have a story content. So yeah, Nick, I do want to talk about the, I know we had talked about it last week, but you hadn't gotten to it yet, but the part where, and I can't remember his name, but the pilot, he kind of breaks down and like takes off. And I think that's when he tells you his family is dead. I think that's when he tells you.
That's after you crash.
Yeah. But you find out he's just an engineer on the Infinity. He wasn't actually a Marine or anything like that. He just stole the Pelican and bounced. So when he found you, he's excited. He's like, "Oh, we get to go home." But Master Chief being who he is, it was like, "No, we gotta finish the fight." But she says it like 2 or 3 times in the game, which is kind of funny.
And I need a weapon line as well.
Yep. But yeah, they he kind of sits down with them, in very few words, but kind of reassures him, and he says him that he lost Cortana and it was his fault and blah blah. Yeah, they did a really good job of humanizing Chief, and it was I thought it was a pretty touching scene for the most part.
Yeah, I think it was, and I think they did a really great job of both humanizing Master Chief, but also kind of making him making him look as big as he seems.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And like you can
definitely.
see that like with the perspective of him looking down at Cortana and vice versa. And
Yep.
like seeing him next to the pilot, like damn, this guy's kind of a menace. He's pretty big. And I don't know, that wasn't portrayed much in the previous Halos, and I think they did a really good job with that.
Yeah.
In Infinite.
Yeah, and then just all like the kind of the flashback scenes with Cortana over the game, because her data is kind of just in the environment, kind of dispersed throughout the world, and you come across like some fragments that have like kind of like ghosts and stuff, but it's like mainly like flashbacks and stuff. And it reiterates the fact that she chose Chief not because he was the fastest or the strongest, because he's not any of those things. He's just the luckiest. And I just thought bringing that up was really cool. And why she chose him as, her Spartan. So
kind of humanize him a bit more too.
Yep. But yeah, I mean, kind of the whole game, you're really just trying to, locate the Harbinger and stop her. You end up fighting Escharum, the leader of the Banished now, which that fight was
after he took the pilot.
Yeah, he took the pilot, tortured him same way he did the one Spartan you find that ended up dying. And going through that was like kind of funny. It was like 3 stages, and 2 of them were like a UNSC kind of. That was weird. It was really weird.
I think my interpretation of it is that they had built these UNSC style battlegrounds to simulate battles with the UNSC, and that's how they beat them.
Yeah. Or when they captured them, because every time you come up like an outpost and you would have captured Marines, you're like, why do they keep them? Why don't they just kill them? It makes no sense. But maybe they were putting them into live fire and fighting them, to see how they fought, and maybe that's why they did that. But so that was cool going through those, and then fighting that one elite and getting that badass red sword was super awesome.
That's cool.
And it shows up in your fob. Cool. So that was
awesome. It does? Okay.
It does, yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, and just all the weapons you can find are pretty unique and cool looking. But you end up fighting Escharum and saving the pilot. That was a pretty cool boss fight with his like overshield that he has, and you have to kind of dwindle that down.
Got to use a lot of grappling to get over him.
Yes,
pretty much.
Yeah.
That was,
and then you end up fighting the Harbinger at the very end, which I did not like that fight necessarily a lot.
I didn't either.
Quite a bit, just because she kept disappearing and reappearing, and
then you had to start right before the next wave started.
Yeah.
I was like,
so I know that fight's going to be a really pain on Legendary. I'm not looking forward to that, but yeah, you end up beating her. And you find out that Cortana regretted her decisions, and she wants to give you that knowledge so the weapon can make a better choice, and both of you can really make a better choice on how to go forward with your with the AI. So yeah, it's cool.
And I think, that's pretty much it until the post-credit scene, which show that the Endless have not ended, and
no, I think they maybe broke through or something with whatever she did. So, but it doesn't show the Endless, but it shows Atriox coming back. Talking, and you see him, so he didn't die. And then the weapon, she ended up choosing her own name, but she doesn't actually say it. So I'm assuming it's going to be Cortana, but I'm not sure. And then you find out the pilot's name, and I can't remember the pilot's name.
Probably have it up here. Got it somewhere. Fernando Esparza.
Fernando. Okay.
Fernando.
So yeah, I thought the campaign was definitely. I mean, there weren't any like scarabs or anything like that. There was no space.
Yeah, I kind of missed that kind of stuff.
But I mean, I guess for what it is, it makes sense because
where would that stuff come from?
Yeah, where would that stuff come from? Although it's like the Banished just kept sending stuff. I'm like, oh my gosh, did they ever run out of weaponry and stuff? And then like the pilot would constantly bring scorpion tanks and stuff. So it's like, where does he get this stuff? But I mean, that's gameplay stuff. So it's hard to judge that. But it doesn't feel, I guess, in terms of like the Cortana story arc, it definitely feels complete. But as far as it being an end of a trilogy, it doesn't necessarily feel like the end. But again, it was open-ended, so we'll get more stuff eventually. But it was definitely toned back as far as like the campaign structure itself and like those missions. Obviously, the real meat of the game is the open world and going through that and doing all the side stuff. I did not like how much, and I didn't expect, or I didn't know I was going to be funneled in at this point, but like after you do those 4 points on the map. Yeah, the spires.
I think it's called the sequence or something. Yeah. Finding the spires, you go into the next mission, and for the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, essentially 6 missions, you're
stuck. Yeah,
you're stuck, except for like one mission, House of Reckoning, where it's still linear, but it's kind of cool because you have a scorpion and you can get a wraith and stuff, and kind of just blow stuff up, and that's pretty fun. Yeah, but the rest of them are very similar in terms of the structures that you walk through. Yep. Walking through all these Forerunner structures, it's a lot of blue. It's a lot of walking into a room and wiping out enemies and then going to the next room. So I was getting a little tired of that at the end. Yeah. I don't know. I kind of wish the game would have ended after the fight with Estrom. Yeah. Because that felt more like more climactic than the fight with the Harbinger.
Yeah. Yeah. No, yeah, I agree. I think the last, they kind of was a little bit too much at the end, and the fact that they're just so samey with those corridors and everything just looked the same. Yeah, it was a lot, but
the open world was great.
Yeah, the open world was great. All that aspect of the game was fantastic. But I mean, it was they're not super long missions, but when they're back to back, it was a lot. But overall, I thought the campaign itself was solid. I don't think it's anywhere near my favorite campaign of all time for Halo, just of all the Halo games. But I definitely think it's solid. The open world holds up for it. I think
it does.
It really kind of
carries it.
It carries it for sure. So it was definitely I thought a great Halo, and I'm looking forward to playing more when they eventually add stuff to that. Mm-hmm. But Nick, any final thoughts on the campaign? I mean, we kind of talked about most of the major points, I think.
I mean, I think the takeaway is that there's more to come. Yeah. Whether that's through another game in 10 years or some sort of DLC that goes through Atriox and the Endless.
Yeah, I think it'll be some DLC at some point. I don't know. I mean, I don't know when we'll get it. Maybe next year or something, or a year from now. I don't know. Who knows? Yeah. They may add like minor, like, here's another FOB or something to go get, or here's more Spartan cores you could find, or it's weird like the thruster and the like invisibility cloak aren't in the game, but if you're not thruster,
the deflector,
the deflector, thruster. That's not in the game, and the invisibility cloak is not in the game. But if you do use like the dash, when you have that fully upgraded, you do turn invisible after you dash. So technically in the game, but not as an ability. I'm looking forward to playing more. I think they'll add some more DLC sooner rather than later.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Yeah, that's going to end our Halo Infinite Spoilercast. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. We'll if more DLC comes out, we'll talk about that. But appreciate everyone listening.
Until then, we'll just be playing multiplayer.
Yes, lots of multiplayer. I'm excited for new maps to come to.
Yeah,
now that
I'm
the
sure we'll get a
campaign
lot
is
of
out.
those next year.
Yeah. All right, guys, we will see y'all in the next one.
See y'all next week.